Heading back over 100 years in time, a trip up Grand River roughly 20 miles away from the city of Detroit set the closest beach and amusement park, Walled Lake. From small dance hall to amusement thrills in the 60s, Walled Lake Amusement Park is filled with a rich, long history from problems with the law, market crashes, new ownership, post-wars, and depressions. This park faced a litany of problems, much like the city and state during the time.
Coming from the 1900s, Michigan amusement parks were abundant everywhere, from Walled Lake Amusement Park, Edgewater Amusement Park, to Boblo Island. Michigan and Detroit were rich in history with amusement parks and phenomenal wooden roller coasters well before the amusement meccas we see today. Michigan was home to more than 30 amusement parks in its history, spanning more than a century of coaster innovation and enthusiast visits and screams from the midways.
Welcome back to Ghoster Coasters. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as we take a trip around the Great Lakes, exploring the thrills and ends of the amusement parks that have since been lost, forgotten, and abandoned. A huge shout out goes to our Coaster Ghosts and producers of the channel. Thanks for everything you do to help us create amusement park content for everyone. We couldn't do this without all of you.
I don't know, I guess everybody thinks they're Indiana Jones.
Cruising down the river.
During the 1900s, the park was home to a dance hall, a small bathhouse, and a casino. The dance hall was quickly seeing up to 1,000 patrons a night coming to see the live entertainment from Detroit area bands such as the Finzels and Stones Orchestra. But a few feet away, Herman Zenkuch was busy building his own dance hall on a 2-story wooden water slide where you would sit in a toboggan and slide right into the lake. Herman's dance hall was larger and fancier than the Walled Lake dance hall and contained a restaurant, quickly creating a bit of public controversy and competition among the two places.
The feud consisted for years, with the Taylors having trouble competing with the Hermans' larger and fancier Seneca Shores complex, which led to the decision to sell the park to Detroit grocer Louis Tulleton, who remodeled and opened the dance hall in 1923, which Herman countered by offering a free car at the end of the season over at Seneca Shores.
In 1925, Tulleton decided to build a new casino. The huge dance floor was included at 140 by 120 feet. The casino and dance floor had a unique ceiling, designed with hand-painted wooden and silk stars that resembled the night sky. With the new building and competition rising, Herman was then forced to rent his facilities out, but the development didn't go over well, and in 1927, Herman retook control of his property before ultimately deciding to lease his dance hall to Louis Tulleton, seemingly winning the early feud and sailing into smooth waters for the amusement park, right?
Well, that wasn't the case, and in 1927, Oakland County Sheriff Frank Schramm got an injunction to stop Sunday dancing at the dance hall, citing an old blue law that had been on the books for years. This led to a long, ongoing case between Tulleton and the county. Louis decided to have his daughter dance on a Sunday night, knowing it would force the hall to be padlocked and taking the case to course. Tulleton wound up prevailing and dancing continued, but Herman was still in the mix and owned the other dance hall, which he wound up converting into a roller skating rink in 1930.
In 1929, the new Walled Lake Park received what looks to be one of the best defunct wooden coasters the state of Michigan ever had, the Flying Dragon, built by Fred Pierce in 1929, who wanted an amusement park of his own and then partnered with Herman to lease the property, and often called this his crowning achievement, with the entrance to Walled Lake Park standing beneath one of the turns of the coaster. Not much is known about this ride, but it looked fantastic, and old photos of it do exist which stand out and make us wonder what could have been if the small town we visit today still had an amusement park. The park also featured many other rides, with over 500 feet of boardwalk in 2 different areas, a tilt-a-whirl, speedboat rides, dodgem cars, and more. Unfortunately, Herman passed away before the park opened on May 9th, 1929.
Louis Tulleton was barely able to open the next season due to the Depression and stock crash on October 24th. which led him to having to take a loan out in order to even open. Despite a depression, the park flourished with its nationally broadcasted and listened to radio broadcast that put Walled Lake on the map as an entertainment center of the Midwest.
The Walled Lake Amusement Center soon added a second stage for performers, booking 2 bands a night and giving the park a much-needed boost. The era of big bands soon began as people from all over the country fell upon the dance halls and casino to see acts such as Tommy Dorsey, Five Pennies, and Benny Goodman. The park closed during World War II and reopened with continued success in acts after 1946, such as Louis Armstrong, Les Brown, and more, and even had Lawrence Welk come do some of the last radio broadcasts from the casino. In 1957, Rolf Flanagan set the attendance record at the casino, but this was the peak for the amusement park as hard times fell upon Walled Lake soon.
In 1959, the casino was sold by Leon Tolatin and converted to rock performances that saw the likes of Chuck Berry, Stevie Wonder, and more. Funny story about Chuck Berry here is that he arrived late and demanded his pay in cash before performing for the Walled Lake crowd. But in 1965, the park was again sold to a club owner who changed it to Club A Go-Go.
Tragedy soon struck as on Christmas night, 1965, just after 11:30, the casino caught fire and burned completely to the ground. The reason for the fire was a smoldering cigarette in a cardboard trash can. This was the end of a dancing era and the dance hall in Walled Lake, as it would have been way too expensive to rebuild.
With the death of Fred Pierce in the 60s, his son took over operations, but it was clear the end was near as his heart was never truly in the amusement industry. He sold the park to the Wagner brothers, who own a rival park, Edgewater Amusement Park in Detroit, a mere 30 minutes or less away. The park operated for a few years, but eventually fell into disrepair, and in 1968 was closed at the end of the season. A majority of the rides were dismantled and relocated to Edgewater Park, marking the start of the end of a 50-year run of entertainment and amusement for Walled Lake.
Walled Lake had a number of incidents at the park over the years, starting in 1929. A patron was thrown from the roller coaster and perished, resulting in a $25,000 settlement. In 1930, news reports 12 people being arrested one night for rowdy behavior.
In 1930, also saw a young girl perish on the water slide, and another man have his leg ripped open in the water slide. He sued for $100,000. In 1955, 7 people were injured when a cable from a miniature airplane ride snapped and whipped through the crowd.
In 1958, one patron was injured from a .22 caliber gunshot wound to the stomach at the shooting gallery. Sheesh. In 1966, one person drowned at the pier at night. Another person drowned that year when 1,000 people were swimming, somehow unnoticed.
In 1971, the bathhouse was destroyed by a fire. And in 1974, 2 persons were injured after being thrown from the Tilt-A-Whirl ride.
As is with all parks, the final years always seem to be the clearest. No matter how much they may have wanted to continue the park operations, the disrepair and the lack of funding created problems that were insurmountable to overcome. And like many parks of the past, they met its last visitors, greeted them for one last time, enjoyed a ride, a scream, a meal, and a thrill for one last time, and created a long-lasting memory of smiles from decades past forever fading as memories from before.
Thanks for watching another episode of Lost, Abandoned, and Forgotten Amusement Parks. We have plenty of amusement park history to go and many episodes in the pipeline, so leave a comment and let us know which parks you'd like us to cover. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. It greatly helps the video, and we couldn't do it without all of the coaster ghosters out there. As always, thank you for being a part of the spooky community
And for coaster ghosting with Ghoster Coasters.
Have an abandoned amusement park memory kind of day, everybody.
Woo!